What is up, guys? Eric Jennings back here with another video. I'm going to give you guys the top 5 quad building exercises. So if you're struggling with quad density or sweep, these are going to be tremendous exercises for you to start incorporating into your leg day tomorrow or today if you're hitting legs. So what I want to focus on in this video is not only the exercise selection, but also the modality in which we hit each exercise, which is going to include a lot of tempo, range of motion. So be aware of not only the exercises, but also the form I'm utilizing, because you can take the same form and give it to your glute exercises, your hamstring exercises, or even upper body. So take what I'm noting about range of motion, the importance of tempo, and utilize on other things. So without further ado, let's get into this top 5 quad bangers. Let's go. My number 1 quad building exercise, guys, is going to be a low foot placement tempo leg press. So we're gonna go super slow reps, really focusing with the lower placement. You're gonna get more impetus on the quad. If you're gonna do this, guys, I would suggest definitely warming up the knees, warming up the legs before getting into this. You can put a little pressure on your knees. So definitely start really light on these, but I'm gonna show you guys the form and how to utilize this. So I like to put the back pad in the highest position. This is as high as this one goes. We're gonna go foot placement on the lower side here. So we're not gonna be all the way up at the top. We're gonna go pretty low here. I'm taller, so if you're even shorter, you can go lower. It's gonna be about there for me. I'm gonna slightly turn out the toes so that my knees can clear my upper body. Because if I'm right here, I'm gonna run into my chest pretty quickly. My knees are gonna track my toes here. So I'm gonna go pretty pointed out on rack. We're gonna go slow on that eccentric to really dig into those quads. Slow, get as deep as you can while keeping the butt down. And then we're gonna drive out, squeeze. Slow on that eccentric. Touch and out. The toes pointing out are also gonna hit the sweeps of your quads. So slow eccentric. You'll feel a good amount of pressure through those quads. And then we're gonna dig out. 4 to 6 on the negative. 2, 3, 4, 5, out. Squeeze. Pulling my butt down using these handles, so I'm not rolling the lower back off the pad. All right, once I get to pretty much failure with those negative reps, what I'm gonna do is some constant tension. So I'm not gonna stop at the bottom nor the top for 8 to 10 burnout reps. So I'm gonna hold tension in the legs, speed up the reps slightly, and go for 8 to 10 straight through, no stopping. Whew. And so, if it doesn't feel like that at the end of your set, probably could have done more. So, definitely want to feel a huge burn through your whole quad on these. Just making sure you're driving through the first 8 to 10 reps with that super slow negative, and then get some failure reps. That principle is called pre-exhaust, exhaust. We're pre-exhausting with those tempo reps, and then fully exhausting with those faster reps at the end of the set. So that is number one exercise for building big ass quads. All right, exercise number two that I absolutely love for building my quads is going to be a lower foot placement on a hack squat. So most gyms, almost everyone's going to have some sort of hack squat. So this is the most traditional one. They have some really cool ones here, but I wanted to show you guys one that you guys, very similar to what you'd have at your gym likely. So what I'm going to do is place my feet towards the middle. For me, I'm taller, so for you, if you're shorter, if a low foot placement might be here, but since I'm a little taller, that's for like me, this is high foot placement. For me, this would be towards low foot placement. I'm gonna go toes slightly out at about 10 to 20 degrees. I'm gonna drop underneath. And my focus here, as always, is extreme tempo, especially on the eccentric, meaning the negative portion of my rep. I'm gonna be focused on going very slow on that eccentric to get a lot of emphasis in my quads. I'm also gonna get a slight pause at the bottom of my reps and extreme range of motion. So I'm gonna go here, take out, unrack. I'm gonna go slow on that eccentric, about a 6 count. All the way in the hole, pause, drive out through those toes. As you can see, I'm not rushing my reps. Knees are pushing slightly out. Driving out. So you can see I push for extreme range of motion. You guys are gonna need to work up to that mobility in your hips, in your glutes, in your quads. But you can see I go pretty much as deep as the machine can. So slow eccentric. Pause in that depth, and then drive out. So I usually will do 12 to 15 here, and sometimes I'll hit some failure reps at the end of my set. So even if I am dead with eccentrics, I'll power through 5 to 6 faster reps, constant tension. Toss these into your workout, guys. You will not be disappointed. My third best quad building exercise, none other than the trusty quad extension. It's a great isolation movement. It's a great way to obviously hold at peak contraction. What I mean by peak contraction is when the legs are completely straight. It allows you to hold that position, pulling your butt down. You're gonna get a lot of blood flow and hypertrophy. It just goes back to that idea of creating that hypoxic environment in your tissue, which means restricting the level of oxygen. As I do more and more reps at that super slow tempo, it's gonna pull that oxygen out of my muscle, and it's gonna increase the amount of hypertrophy as I perform more and more reps and more sets. So you'll see here, I'm gonna perform about a 4 count hold, the top of the rep. Doesn't mean you have to go light. I've worked my way up strength-wise that I can do holds with the whole stack here. So let's see how this goes. 8 to 10 with holds. Let's go. Fire. Whoa. As you can see, I really pull my butt down through the seat and hold at the top of my rep. Four count hold, slow on that eccentric, big range of motion at the bottom, up and hold. And then fire through some failure reps at the end of the set. If you don't look like that at the end of your quad extensions, you didn't do them right. So that idea of pre-exhaust, exhaust, we've gone through it before. Slow on the eccentric, hold 10 to 12, burnout failure reps. It's gonna create that hypoxic environment that we're looking for, and to get maximal muscle fiber recruitment from slow twitch, fast twitch, large, small to large as you progress through the set. So that's the way. Number 3, to grow huge quads. Numero cuatro for you guys. We got a number 4 quad builder for you guys. So I think I have body dysmorphia. I've been walking through this gym and everybody's like, bro, your quads are fucking huge. And I'm like, bro, my quads are tiny, bro. So I need to work on that because I don't see myself the way other people see me. So I'm gonna work on that little mental imbalance I got going. But anyway, back to the video. I'm going to do a heel elevated front loaded goblet squat dumbbell. So with these guys, as always, I want to get as much stretch in that fascia as possible. So I'm gonna get a super deep rep. I'm gonna point the toes out so I can clear my body, and I'm gonna get a big stretch, hold at the bottom of the rep. That's gonna be my peak contraction point for quads, because that's the greatest level of flexion. So we got extension, we got flexion. So we are going to get the greatest amount of flexion at the bottom of rep, which is gonna be the most pressure on our quads. So that's why I'm gonna hold my isometric hold at the bottom of my rep. I know I'm talking really fast, but you guys got me. You guys can rewind, put it in 0.5, so you can get all that information. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you how to set this up. I have just a pad here. You guys can use a 45-pound plate, but this was already here available to me. So I'm gonna have my toes on the floor and heels out. The reason the heels are elevated is going to give me more range of motion and allow me more ergonomically to get to the bottom of my rep than I would with flat heels. That's the same idea as lifters. So if you guys have seen Ollie's, Olympic lifting shoes, their heels are elevated because ergonomically, it's going to improve your performance and just your hip mobility and ergonomics as a whole to have slightly elevated heels. So that's why we're gonna use the pad in this case, or if you have a 45-pound plate, just as good, probably even better than this because this thing's kind of squishy. So I would not recommend at all, but we're gonna do it anyway. So we're gonna go heels slightly narrower than shoulder width. So I'm not gonna be as wide as a normal squat. I'm gonna point the toes out, toes are on the floor. To safely get this dumbbell up, what I'm gonna do is single arm grab in a full squat. So I'm not gonna pick it up with my back. I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna rock it up. I'm gonna go hands underneath the dumbbell. I'm gonna push the hips back as my first movement. I'm gonna go pretty much straight down, slow on that eccentric. I'm gonna sit in the hole. I've got good stretch to the quads, and then I'm gonna push out. I'm gonna go slow on that concentric as well. I'm not gonna explode out. I'm gonna push through my quads. So see, my knees are going out. I'm upright, and then I'm gonna push through those quads. So even I'm gonna have safe catch in the mirror. You can see how much my quads are opening up at the bottom of the rep here. So still good posture, keeping that dumbbell nice and tight. I'm very comfortable here. Guys, if you're lifting a lot, I would get very comfortable in this position. You don't wanna feel like this is very uncomfortable for you, like you're gonna fucking crush your hips. You wanna feel like that's a very comfortable position. So slow eccentric, pause in the hole, and then we're gonna dig out. And so we're gonna hit that for usually 12 to 15 reps. I like to take these with minimal rest. So 60 seconds max. What you can do is progressively keep the weight the same, progressively drop the reps, but keep the rest time low. So you can go, let's say 15, 12, 9, 6 with a 60-second rest. That's a really cool way to obviously keep the intensity high with low rest times. So try that out, or you can just hit sets 12, 15, or you can take longer rests and go up in weight, hit some more progressive overload. Kind of up to you, but obviously just all gonna provide a different stimuli for your tissue. So hope you guys love this exercise number 4. Let's go to number 5. Number 5, guys, we are closing out with last quad building exercise. It is going to be a single dumbbell split squat. I know everybody loves split squats. Just kidding, everybody fucking hates split squats. But the reason they hate them is because they're effective, they're aerobic, but they're going to get you what you want if you do them correctly. So the reason I like to do single arm dumbbell, I'm gonna go opposite hand of the opening. So if I'm performing the movement with my right leg up, I'm gonna go left hand so I can clear the space. I'm gonna balance with that right arm. The reason I like to go 1 instead of 2 is it allows me to open up my hip more, I feel like, than if I'm getting both dumbbells. So I'm gonna hit one dumbbell, and then what I'm gonna do is put the foot a little farther back so I can have more of the impetus on the quads. I bet you guys are also wondering why my knee wraps are at my ankles. I only use my knee wraps when I'm using super heavy weight or doing something that is going to need my knees to have that extra compression, which they don't need right now, and it's more of just an annoyance for me at a certain point. So I'm gonna show you guys this one. The setup is going to be dumbbell opposite of that front foot. So the front foot's not gonna be as forward as if you're trying to focus more on glutes on this exercise. If I wanna hit more glutes, the foot's gonna be farther away. I'm gonna get more heel drive than more toe drive. So I'm gonna go a little tighter on these. I'm going to I'm gonna set my foot first because I wanna make sure it's in a comfortable position before picking up my dumbbell. So I'm gonna make sure this feels good. Yeah, that feels absolutely perfect right there. I know I'm gonna get a lot of drive. So what I'm gonna do is pick up this dumbbell. I'm gonna put out that opposite hand as a ballast. I'm gonna go slow on that eccentric, opening up that front quad as deep as I can get it. Push up, squeeze. And you see how the dumbbell is almost wrist resting against the quad on my opposite leg. Super slow, squeeze. Stretch at the bottom, drive out. See, nothing's explosive here. Everything is controlled. I'm not completely locking out at the top of my rep. Just trying to get as constant tension as possible. So the reason that I'm utilizing constant tension is just gonna increase hypertrophy. If I rest at the top of my rep, I'm gonna lose what's called that hypoxic environment, which we've talked about a lot in my videos, which is restricting the level of oxygen to the tissue, which is gonna increase the level of hypertrophy. It's gonna increase the amount of motor recruitment, fast twitch, slow twitch, small to large muscle fibers. So that is a great way to do it, is by limiting your rest time between reps and limiting your rest between sets. So hope you guys love this video. I hope that it enables you to build some big ass quads, but I am going to be putting out so much more content like this. So if you please could subscribe to my channel. It just takes about a quarter of a second to hit that little subscribe button. I'll also put it on the screen. If you can't figure that out, I don't know what to tell you guys. Can't help you. Can't help you build your quads. Can't help you with your tech. It's all a mess. So hope you guys love this video. Without further ado, I'll catch you guys on the next one.